Hello, and welcome to the W.A.I.T channel. What Am I Thinking? A podcast where two sisters share uplifting conversations on fun and sometimes serious topics.
Join us each week by clicking the notification bell and subscribing to our channel. If you enjoy the show, use the share link. It's one of the best ways to expand the conversation.
Welcome back to the W.A.I.T channel. What am I thinking? Today we're thinking about voting and the upcoming midterm elections scheduled to take place Tuesday, November 8, 2022. When I just think about voting, not so much even what I'm voting for, I'm just reminded of so many people who fought so that we could have a right to have a vote. And it basically is the foundation of this country from the time we broke away from England, because those people wanted to have a say in how they were governed. Over the past 100 years, our country has seen extreme shifts when it comes to voting. And even more recently, over the past 10 years, we've seen this huge divide in our country. More so in my life that I've ever seen before. There's always been this division that's there. But one thing we know is that we all do have a voice. And if it's something that you don't like, or if there is a bill or something that you don't agree with, it's okay to sit home and argue with your television set or some person that's talking on the set. That might make you feel good, but the thing that's going to make change is by you getting off of that chair or that sofa and going down to the booth, either early voting or being there on the 8th, placing your ballot and making your wishes and your desires known.
That's right. The saying that you hear, which is not just a saying, it's a truth. Your vote is your voice. Mm-hmm. And when you complain about the way things are, what's happening, and you choose to not be a part of the process, then you are a part of the problem. Mm-hmm. When you look at the blood that has been shed in order for you to have the right to vote, it's a big deal, as she talks about, for the foundation of the country starts with no taxation without representation. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's what that was about. And so it took a while for everyone, women, blacks, to be able to have the right to vote. Some states are re-looking at taking away inmate prisoners' right to vote forever once they have done their time. Some have rolled it back, others have not. But it's a big deal. And it's not just about the national elections. It's really more important on the local level. Because as we see with them doing certain changing things and saying it's going to be the state's choice, well, you got to know who you have in your state house and who is representing you in your local districts. When you see all of a sudden lines being redrawn and redistricting and where you're supposed to go to vote has changed, that's not happenstance. that is deliberate. That's that gerrymandering that they talk about. And if you don't know what that is, look it up. Because unfortunately, it seems like the Supreme Court has said it's okay.
Until it's not.
Until it's not, But who you're putting in office matters. It matters. So know who your local representatives are. Educate yourself. There are too many online platforms that have the information out there for you not to take a minute and find out who's running and who's going to be on the ballot for you. I may want to be concerned about which party, since we are in a two-party system. Unfortunately, there are some local areas that don't even allow people to run as independent anymore. But I'm not going to say I'm even concerned about that. I'm concerned about you getting involved in the process. Because if you care enough to get involved, then I know you're going to pay attention to who you are voting for. And you're not just going to throw away the vote if you go through the process to get registered.
I just, as you were talking, I was reminded of a story. It was in the 80s, and it was a gubernatorial race in Michigan, and it was Blanchard and Engler. And like everybody else in the state, Blanchard had been a wonderful governor. He was a loved governor. He was a Democratic governor. And there was no reason to believe that following morning after the election that he was going to be governor. So a lot of people stayed home, me included. And I'll never forget waking up the next morning and finding out that Engler had won because it had been one of the lowest voter turnouts in the state's history.
Wow.
And he proceeded, when he took office, to make sweeping changes that to this day, the effects are still being felt.
Yeah.
I learned after that my one vote does count.
If I'm not mistaken, one term.
Engler, was he one term? I don't remember.
I just know that it was some not great stuff that came out of him.
Yeah, he was. I mean, honestly, his platform and his reform for mental health, and it was just so damaging. The clinics that had been there and purposely put in the community to help people with their mental health issues, closed them all down.
Wow.
Closed them all down. Yeah. So, it's easy to think. It's funny, there was an episode on what's the guy, Jerry Seinfeld's okay, so Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. Larry David. He was supposed to go and vote, and he decided he wasn't going to vote because the line was too long, and he got out of line, and the person that they all had wanted to win lost because of one vote. And somebody saw that he had gotten out of line and that it was his one vote that could have decided the election.
Wow.
But that is it's so true that every vote does count. And I'm telling you, I have, since that day, I have stood outside with a child that was not even a year old in the stroller in the rain with my umbrella waiting to vote. I have the following year taken that child with me, and we squeezed up in that booth so that I could place my vote. I have gotten there early before they even started so that I could be in line so that I could vote.
Yeah.
That situation in Michigan, it taught me a lesson. Yeah. Even when I knew I lived in an area that was going to overwhelmingly vote against what I wanted, I still vote.
That's right. That's right. And I did my absentee ballots as a military veteran. I made sure that my vote was counted. And so when I hear them talking about the absentee ballots, and there's sometimes where they need to count them and they can wait before they can do it, and sometimes it's not, but it matters regardless. Especially now it matters. So don't allow yourself to be disenfranchised or feeling as if nothing that you do is going to make a difference, because it does matter. And I really believe that you can't stand around complaining about things if you have not done your civic duty, not just to vote, but to educate yourself on the issues, the candidates, and then go vote. Do those 3 things, and then you can have a conversation about what's right, wrong, could be better, because you're being a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. So do your civic duty. Educate yourself. Learn about those candidates. Learn about the issues, not just the candidates, because there are issues on the ballots as well. Mm-hmm. Learn about how those issues will impact you. And they're not written in the best manner sometimes. So learn whether you need to be yay or nay.
They can get tricky with their wording.
They can get tricky with the wording on it. So make sure you know. Are you yes on that proposal?
I mean, honestly, I remember one where it's vote yes if you're against.
Yes,
I mean, that type of verbiage.
It's not the easiest, but I'm telling you, there are ways to educate yourself. So do that. Know and don't be turned off. I know that there are conversations that need to be had about what's wrong with whatever party you are connected to. I get that. But whatever party you are with, and there's one party that unfortunately does it way better than another party. What benefit does it do you to continue to talk about, especially in a voting year? But I say whenever. There's no positive in saying they did this wrong, they're doing that wrong. Let's talk about some things they're doing correctly. And you can say maybe there's some things they could do better, but we're definitely better off if we stick with this person or that. Because all that naysaying, that is what turns people off from thinking they can do anything to help by voting. So when you're having conversations with families and friends about going to the polls, let it end with, but we are still going to vote. Well, that's what I have to say, and that's what I am thinking about voting in America. It's a right that has been fought for. I can't even begin to name the names of those who lost their lives fighting so that everyone could have this right. So don't take it for granted. Let your vote be your voice. Tune in next time and hear what we are thinking on the W.A.I.T channel.